stats in every game are super important, and today I'm going to go through all the stats that you see in God's Raid and kind of rank them for each different class to what you need to focus on to ones that don't really matter as much, because some of the classes, they are totally opposites. Totally opposite. So let's get in and have a look. So I'll start with my big dog, the Duke of Darkness. This is my absolute damage dealer. He is so far ahead of all my other characters in level and the best gear that I have. I probably should sort it out a bit better, but for now, we'll have a look. So he's all about attacking. He shouldn't get hit very much because he's at the back line. Obviously, when your opponents do blink to the back, you have a chance of getting hit, but most likely, he shouldn't be getting hit. So my defense and my HP are something that I don't worry about at all. Attack is obviously something that I push as far forward as possible. So the next one, as we go down, is AS. This is your attack speed. This is the number of attacks during 1 second. I believe as normal, this is 0.5 per second. We'll have a look at another hero. It's 0.5 per second. It is 0.5 per second. It looks like most heroes are 0.5 per second. I haven't gone through them all, but it looks like on average 0.5 per second is what you want. The quicker that you can get this attack speed, the quicker that you get your energy back. So if you're attacking faster and faster and faster, then your energy goes up and then you can use your ultimate quicker. So essentially, attack speed for nearly any hero is worth it. If you can put as much attack speed on, that means you're getting ultimate back, and pretty much every character is just about their ultimate. Some have really good normal attacks, but it's usually get to their ultimate and bang that off as fast as possible. Next up is your res. This is your resistance to holy attacks. Higher res, less holy damage you receive. Realistically, I don't care about this very much either because he's not getting hit very often. But one thing I will say before we get too far into this is really more of a beginner's guide to this. As we get further down into the game, like to that end game content, I'm not there yet, so I can't really speak on that. This is more of where you need to focus at the start. I'm just getting to the end of hell mode in campaign, so you can kind of judge off that a little bit higher than that, and definitely anything underneath here, this is probably where you want to focus. So we'll move on to penetration. He's a damage dealer, and you want to pierce the target's defense as much as possible. So the higher that this is, the more chance you're going to negate a lot of the defense that you're attacking. These big defenders that you come up against have a ginormous defense. Like his defense is only 5, 9, 8. If we go over to my tank, his defense is literally double, and he's nowhere near as high level as my damage dealer. So you need that penetration so that defense just gets negated a little bit. Critical, one of the most important ones for your damage dealer. The higher that this crit number is, the more chance you have of negating their crit resistance and getting a critical hit on your opponent. This could be the difference of one-shotting your opponent and then literally not hitting them for much at all. So I feel like that this is something that you want to focus on as much as possible. And then as we go along, your crit damage is just a multiplier to your crit rate. So I wouldn't focus on your crit damage as much in this lower section. You want more critical and attack speed if you can get it. If you can get some crit damage on there as well, awesome. But it is not as influential as yet. As you go up higher, then you will start to min-max and get the most out of crit damage. But for now, just hold off on that. Crit resistance, again, he shouldn't be getting hit that much, so I don't really care about this that much right now. Block, same. Block damage. He's on 0%, so he's never going to block, so it doesn't matter. I know he's probably going to get one shot. He's a glass cannon. That's fine. I don't care. I just want him to hit hard. When he hits hard. Come down, dodge, that's the same thing. So, and next one is accuracy. This is pretty important. I reckon your attack speed and your critical are more important than your accuracy. So the accuracy reduces the target's dodge equivalent to your accuracy. If your accuracy is higher than the target's dodge, your attack is increased by equal to the difference. So if your attack is high enough, higher than their dodge, that number above their dodge number gets added to your attack, so you're going to hit them for more. If it is lower, I believe you have a chance of missing. If I'm wrong about that, please let me know down the bottom. I'm still learning about this game, as we all are. We're less than a month in still. So accuracy is probably number 3 on the list that you need to get up. It is above crit damage for now because you need to hit the opponent. If you miss them or your attack gets lowered because of this, whatever it is, you're just losing damage. It's not worth it. So as you come down, you've got energy charge rate and skill cooldown reduction. I haven't found anything that does this yet. Maybe on the amulet or when I get some better bits of gear, I will get this. But if you can, definitely, energy charge rate, you want that high. You want to get to your ultimate faster. And skill cooldown, of course, you want the character skill to cool down faster, but really your energy charge rate is more important than your skill, because reading from that, the skill I would suggest is this middle one here. Still, it's a great attack, especially for this guy. That does a lot of damage. It's perfect, but it's not as important as getting his ultimate off that absolutely melts your opponents. Basic attack multiplier, of course you want this higher. Again, I haven't found anything that does raise this. Skill attack multiplier, this seems to come onto your ring here. Your skill attack multiplier of 9.57%. You want that high because this represents your character's skill attack multiplier. Increases the damage of your skill attacks. So, you're getting more damage out of your skill. Then you got ultimate attack multiplier, does the same thing, but on the ultimates, I feel like they've broken these stats down way too much. I don't think that you need this in-depth stats, but that's how they're going with it. This ultimate one, I believe, is more important, and I believe that comes from the earrings. Yes, earrings. Maybe as you get a few more, like I haven't gone down the road of having lots of earrings and things like that, but earrings again is attack multiplier. Oh no, it's block damage. So it may be a random stat that you get from those. Skill attack. Skill attack. See, if I'm wrong there, let me know, but it does look like your rings will give you a skill attack multiplier and your earrings can give you an ultimate attack multiplier. Both are very, very influential on the amount of damage you're doing for damage dealer, so I would definitely go for those if you can get them. So attack speed, critical, and accuracy are your 1, 2, and 3. If you're not hitting them, switch them out for more accuracy. If you're not critting enough, make sure you get more critical, and attack speed is just good no matter what you can do. If you can get some, take it. And then the next tier down would be your penetration, crit damage, and some of these attack multipliers down the bottom. But that is more for the end game. If you can get it, then get it. The rest of these other ones that are blocking damage, don't worry about it. It does not matter right now because hopefully you're not getting hit. Next up, we're going to move on to our tanks and frontline. But I'm going to have a video come out in the next couple of days after this one about gearing and what I'm doing with leveling my gearing. I'm trying to save as much as possible because I don't want to waste resources on gear. So if you do want to find out more about that, make sure you hit that subscribe and that bell down the bottom so you do not miss those next videos coming out. But let's head across to our front line. So I've got a tank and a melee hero that I run on the front line, and I build them both pretty much the same. So I'll just go through the tank. Attack speed, it's as lovely as it is. It does not matter with the tank. With your melee, because he does do damage, yes, it kind of does matter. I've only got 0.02 extra on here because I haven't really pushed for it that much. So as you can see with the resistance, it's exactly the same. I believe that it is same between everyone because that is an account-wide buff that I have from somewhere. I can't remember where that comes from. If you can get that up, lovely. If not, whatever. Penetration, it doesn't matter either just because he's not in there to do damage. Again, if you can get it on your melee, perfect. But as you can see, 65. I might need to re-gear these guys just a little bit so I can get this penetration onto the melee instead of it being on the tank, which it doesn't matter as much. Critical, again, does not matter. On my melee, it does. My critical is not up yet. I haven't min-maxed these guys. I've literally just put whatever gear on them. As I said, my next video is going to be more around gearing and what to put on each character. I'm just going to go through the stats today, so don't take what my stats are, except for my damage dealer. I've kind of made him an outright damage dealer compared to the rest. So we'll keep going. Critical resistance, yes. You want as much as possible. You do not want to get crit hit with your heroes at the front line. If they get crit hit, you are most likely going to be at least half dead, if not fully dead in one shot. Crit damage, again, does not matter. Melee, yes, it could matter. So if you're having a look here, tanks are going to be easier to build than a melee. Damage dealers are probably going to be easier than a melee as well, because your melee attackers do need some defensive stats, but then they also need attacking stats. Where your defensive and your damage dealer heroes only need one of each, the melee is going to be much harder to build. So going down that road, build your damage first, build your tank next, then go for the melee, just because those two are going to be really easy to optimize compared to your melee going forward. The more block, the more chance that you have blocked your opponent. The higher the value, the higher chance of a block to occur. Obviously, when it occurs, damage equal to the block damage will be blocked and cancel CC effects. That is amazing. If your tank or your melee attacker does not get stunned, knocked back, airborne, etc., that is a huge bonus. And then you put the block damage up high, which means more damage is going to be negated from that attack from your opponent. So yes, you want those, and you want as much dodge. As we talked about, dodge does evade enemy attacks. Perfect. The level difference between you and the target will also affect your ability to evade the attacks. So higher the dodge, if their accuracy is lower, that means you have a higher chance of dodging them fully. So if you get your dodge and block up, that means on one instance, you may dodge them, but another instance, you may block their attack. So it's giving you two chances to either fully negate the attack or stop some of the attack. Both of these is absolutely influential to have on your damage dealer. If you can have it on your melee, even better. Accuracy, again, does not matter. Unless with your defensive hero, you need to be hitting them. Accuracy does not matter too much. Yeah, they've got some cool abilities like stunning your opponent and dragging them in and knocking them back. Things like that. But this accuracy is on the dodge. So if they miss, they miss. But it is not affected by their block. Block is just a percentage. There is no way to negate that from the opposition team. So if you miss, you miss. But if you do hit it, and you will still stun them no matter what. So I do like this. Energy charge rate, skill cooldown, basic attack, and skill multiplier. All of those things, again, yeah, they're cool. But for your defensive hero, it's not really that important. Yeah, it's cool to go around to your energy charge rate and get your ultimate off more. But realistically, you want your tank there, standing at the front line, just eating up damage. You want him to last as long as possible, so that damage dealer behind you can melt your opponents. So that melee attacker can melt your opponents. So healer can sit there and heal without getting hit. So top three, I believe, is dodge, block, and crit resistance. Literally the others don't matter at all unless you want to get some damage out of them, or you want some accuracy because you want to hit them and do the stuns a little bit more. And then the stats up the top, obviously defense and HP is where you're going to fully pump as much as possible. I'll show you the exact difference right now between my melee attacker and my tank. Have a look at this. 3,800 attack, 9,600 attack. Defense, 1145, 850. Yeah, it's a little bit lower, but I want him to attack a bit harder. HP, 113,000. 136,000. So that is the difference right there. Look at that. Huge amount of attack. Still has some defense. Has a huge amount of HP. But you also got to look. This hero has a base of 3,700. And this guy has a base of 2,300. So he does already have a lower base than the melee, which you'll probably find in nearly all the tanks. But I've absolutely pumped it more towards getting higher attack for this guy because his attacks do lots of damage. There's the differences between your melee and tanks. You both want them to survive a long time, but your melee attackers, you definitely want some more attack. You want some more critical, crit damage if you can, the penetration, and definitely accuracy. Look at that, 1,600. Whereas even this guy only had 8,095. So I absolutely whacked him with heaps more accuracy because I don't want him to miss. So we've got one more class of heroes, and these are your support heroes. Your healers is your main ones. They're mainly all healers. There is also Banshee, who is probably the best support in game. I do have a video in the works of finding good replacements for her in out of epics and out of the rare heroes, but for now I'm just going to talk about Banshee and your healers as well, because these are pretty much the same. As you can see, this one's a bit different. 0.25 per second number of attacks during 1 second, so hers is lower as a healer. This healer is lower, so it does look like your healers may be a bit lower than everyone else. Where is another healer? This guy heals. Yes, he is lower again, and that's 0.5, and he's a healer. So that is one of the quickest healers, but his normal skill does actual damage, whereas the other ones do not do damage. So if they heal, their attack speed per second is halved, which is understandable. You don't want your, well, we do want our healers to be doing a lot of healing, but obviously the guys building the game don't want healers just super OP. So we'll head to our healer. The worst thing about nearly all these healers, you go to their skill, heals the HP of one ally for 110% of their attack, 130% of their attack, 100% of attack. Everything is based off attack. We don't like that because we want our healers to survive. So the worst thing about healers and support heroes is most things are based off their attack. So the only difference with all these supports is Banshee, really. Her basic attack is scaled off attack, but she's not there to do damage. She is there to decrease the enemy's attack and defense by whatever this is, depending what level you are. And this ultimate skill of literally just increasing everyone's else's attack by a certain percentage. If you have a look at all these other support heroes down the bottom, if you have a look across the bottom down here, there's literally none that do anything close to what Banshee does. This Plague dude seems okay, doing poison damage onto your opponents and dealing true damage to 200% of the attack of the enemy with the highest defense and reduces incoming healing by 45%. This is absolutely amazing against some of those boss battles, or when you're going through your campaign and that last enemy on the last wave is healing themselves and you can't do enough damage. Bring this guy in, 100%. Look at that skill. For 10 seconds, cooldown's 14, so that is up nearly 100% of the time. None of those others are even close, so I'm not really going to talk about Banshee here because she's in a class of her own. I could probably do a full-length video just on Banshee, and if you do want me to do that, let me know. So we're going to talk about healers. And as I said, everything is based off attack. That does not mean that you go and put 100% of all your stats into attack. Yes, you want extra attack. So if you see, my only piece of equipment I've leveled up is this attack. It's a pretty crappy piece of equipment. I probably should switch that to a better one and level it up, but that's for the next video. So attack, yes, you want attack as high as possible. Defense, you would love some, and HP, you would love some as well, because you don't want them to be glass cannons. You want them to last a long time so they can heal your team up a fair amount. So attack speed is definitely one you want to look at going up, because the faster that this is going, the more heals you're going to be getting off per second. So realistically, that is only going to go every 4 seconds, and that's probably why I keep dying, because she's not healing enough. Resistance, again, that's just site-wide, whatever. Penetration, don't care about that at all. Critical, I don't care about that at all. I do not think that you can do crit heals in this game. If you can, let me know, because that would change that, and you would want this crit to be as high as possible. You want to crit on your own heroes, but I don't understand how this critical percentage would work, because it's not like a definite stat like in Raid Shadow Legends, where it's like your critical is 60%, 80%, or 100%. It is critical, burst critical resistance, so let me know if you can, but I doubt you can. Critical resistance, if you can get a bit, yeah, cool. Crit damage, don't worry about that at all. Block, it would be nice, and block damage, it would be nice, but seriously, they're going to be on the back line and not getting hit that much anyway. Dodge would be lovely to get some of that into it. And accuracy, it does not matter at all. You're not attacking the opponents. Energy charge rate, yes, you want that as high as possible if you can. Skill, cooldown reduction, basic attack multiplier, skill attack multiplier, ultimate attack. You want all of those. If you can get those onto your healer, lovely. Let's go. But it is nearly all about, for your healer, getting this attack as high as possible whilst having a little bit of HP and defense. As I said, not all out in attack. You still want some defense and HP, but everything is scaling off this attack right here, so you need your attack high. Those are all 4 classes. Hopefully I've explained that really well. Obviously your tank and melee, because they're going to be at the front, they're very similar, but you want more damage out of your melee. Your damage dealer is all out damage, critical. You want to melt your opponent, and your healer needs to stay alive, but everything based off attack, so you do need to raise your attack as much as possible. And next up, my next video will definitely be on equipment and where I level and what I'd look for when putting on my heroes. Look out for that, and I'll see you in that video.